Spencer Yates says, hello, Dutch and James. Over the years, it's become extremely obvious that Ric Flair is a classic fair-weather fan. He will support whatever sports team's hot at the moment, or whatever team is paying him to appear, or at least is being nice to him at that moment. He has no brand loyalty to any sports team who may be rebuilding or struggling. I think he uses this approach in business as well as life. He wants to jump onto what is the hot product. I mean, in fairness, you can't blame him for that, I guess. This brings me to AEW. Ric Flair seemed to be desperate to get to AEW when they were a new hot product, even though WWE under Vince had spent years rebuilding him and would use him just to give him a payday. He had no loyalty to WWE. Ric Flair is now in AEW and pretty much does nothing, and the product is just flat, and the company is just down right now. WWE is on fire and seems to be getting better and better. My question for you is, do you think Ric Flair will try and get himself out of AEW to jump over to WWE while they are the hot thing? Or do you think he will try to help out the struggling upstart AEW, or just take a paycheck and do nothing?
Ric Flair couldn't help AEW if his life depended on it. Because Ric Flair is 75 years old. He doesn't appeal to the young demographic anymore. Hell, I appeal to them more than he does. But the only reason he's there is because didn't he sell the Woo drink to them?
Yes, so I mean, he
and
basically got that for
I think they
free.
pick up his salary,
yeah,
and he just got to be around. Actually, excuse me, if he don't want to do something, he can just tell them, no, I'm not doing it. So it's not like they're his boss. The Woo Drink Company is his boss, and all they do is show their ad and pay Rick. So whatever that is, and I haven't seen him in months.
No, Sting. He was hanging about Sting, and now Sting's retired. He's retired again, I guess. He's not been seen.
Yep. Well, I thought did he get used in that last match?
He did. I think he did very fleetingly. And then he swore in the camera. And that was about it.
Bastard. That bastard. But see, they do things in AEW. I don't know what they do. I don't know what rhyme or reason they do it for. Apparently, it was just the hot thought of the night before. I don't know. So, but Flair he's a con man. He really is. I've had my dealings with him. I had him one in Puerto Rico with him.
That was with David Flair, wasn't it?
That was David Flair. I booked him, and he said, if you'll book him, to make a short story short, if you'll book him, I'll make 2 appearances for you at a reasonable price. I said, okay. And I booked him because Carlos didn't like him much. And I said, yeah, but we got that Flair deal. And I think he told David one day, hey, just pack up and leave. And he did. They went to get him for the show, and he was gone. No notice, no nothing. So.
You're not the only person to say that around this time, hey, book David Flair for us, my son for me, and I'll appear for you. Was it Dory Funk or someone like that, I think, who did the same thing, and Ric Flair obviously never showed up. Loyalty, so that's an interesting attack that Spencer Yates, or claim that Spencer Yates is making against Ric Flair. Has Ric Flair just got no loyalty to anybody? Is it just whoever
Nobody.
will pay him?
Rick is for Rick. I don't blame him. But, if you meet Rick, he'll make you think you're the greatest friend he's ever found. And then make you feel, but you'll end up paying for the drinks. And I can kind of see that too. You get to hang out with Ric Flair if you're a fan for a couple of hours. That's, should be worth a few drinks to you anyway. And if you come up to him later, hey, Rick, remember me? No. And he just go on. He's very, very rude when he doesn't want to participate in a conversation. I've seen him do it. But I've seen him do it in the dressing room too. People get tired of that crap, I mean, if somebody is a fan of mine comes up, hey, I used to watch you, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much, blah. And I remember this one match, even a match I don't remember. I said, oh, yeah, I remember that one. That was a tough. But you got to make them feel as though, you recognize and appreciate the contribution they've made towards your career. They bought a ticket. What else I expect them to do? Cut my grass? But it's very easy to say, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, I did. And talk to them like, like a person, and they remember that. But Rick, he would go on some of us bullshit and just cut them off and walk away. Well, that's the feeling he leaves them with. He left them and just standing there like a jack off, and they will always remember that. But if you're friendly to them, make them feel like they're part of the club, if only for 30 seconds or a minute, because you don't have a lot of time anyway, they'll remember that.
Do you, there's two things I'll mention. Do you remember there was a quote that I gave you like a year or so ago, and Ric Flair said he only had 3 real friends: Conrad Thompson, Vince McMahon, and Hulk Hogan. And he said because those 3 will give him money and never ask for it back.
Well, they'd be my best friends too. Yeah, I said, hey, let me look at my friends list, see if it's gone down. Conrad, Vince, and Hulk Hogan.
Hey, well, Vince is rich at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
He's got another 311 million.
Yeah, Vince likes him. And who was the other one?
Conrad Thompson and Hulk Hogan.
Conrad Thompson, yeah. And Conrad, he married his daughter, so that's his father-in-law. And Vince and Hulk Hogan. Vince, I don't know, would be so. I don't know if Vince would be so obliging, or even Hulk now. When did he say this?
Oh, this was before the Vince. This is before the probably before the NDA thing came out. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think it probably was. Well, it was definitely before the Janelle Grant thing came out. There was one more thing I was going to bring. Oh, yeah, there was the other story as well. Speaking about Rick and money, it's stories that I've heard before. I didn't hear it at WrestleCon when I was there. But Ric Flair, when he sees that he's got a very, very long line at one of these conventions, all of a sudden his signature will be worth $50. Let's say it starts off at $50, and all of a sudden it goes up to $60, then it goes up to $80, then it goes up to $100. And he'll just essentially charge whatever he thinks he can. And he's not the only wrestler to do that, but Rick is well-known.
Does he advertise $50 or $60 or $70 or $80? What does he advertise?
I think it's one of those things where, because I've heard this before, people send him pre-orders for a certain price and then he won't give it unless they pay the rest.
That's not right. See, that just shows you what kind of damn carny environment he was brought up in. Just do what you want to do whenever you want to do it, and screw them if they don't like it. And with Vince now, screw him if they don't like it. Has more meaning, because hell, he could be dead tomorrow. So what difference does it make? If they're willing to pay it, I'm willing to take it. So, but I wouldn't do that. I've actually had people come up there and they didn't have the money, and I would just give it to them. You know how much an 8x10 cost?
Nothing, almost.
Nothing, about 50 cents, 60 cents maybe. It's your autograph that's worth something. So you own that, so just give it to them. If they can get some money out of it, fine. I don't care. But and a lot of people, see, people I see, and I've said something about this a couple of weeks ago, guys on the streets, homeless, begging for money, the old saying, there but for the grace of God go I. It could be me sitting there. I hope not, but it could have been. And these guys had a lot of, so if you got, a lot of them are homeless vets, and I've said this before, if you got a few dollars, guys, people, just help them out just a little bit, because he will appreciate it. It doesn't hurt you that much. You don't even have to know him, just help him out. And he'll say thank you, because some of those people on the street are the nicest people in the world. I've heard of one guy, he was starving. A guy got him something to eat, and another homeless guy come up and sat down beside him, and he gave half his food to the other guy because he's hungry too, which to me is the way to share it. But they can do what they want to do. But let's help out when we can. Flair, on the other hand, he's above that. He wouldn't do that.